So does anointing trump truth? Now, the meat and potatoes of this lecture we find in John 6 and 70. Jesus says that, and Jesus answered them, "Have not I chosen you 12? And one of you is a devil." 71 says, "And he spake of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for he it was that should betray him, being one of the 12. It says in 70, Jesus answered, "Have not I chosen you 12? God himself chosen these 12. And then after the book of John, we go into Pentecost, and Jesus is gone. Judas has committed suicide. And so the apostles have to now draw straws to see who would replace Judas. And back in Acts 1, verse 26, it says, "And they gave forth their lots," meaning they drew straws. "And the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered the 11th apostle." He was numbered with the 11 apostles, So that's part 2 of the meat and potatoes. And the third point, again, is back in Galatians 1 and 1, where Paul identifies who he is. "I, Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man, but by Jesus Christ and God the Father." So the connection that I'm pulling together here, what I'm weaving together, is that man determines your value on what you have. God determines your value on what's in you. It's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out of him. And now I get it when it says that people look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And what mega church preachers and people like to do is, these doctoral preachers, what they like to do is determine that you are chosen by God, depending on how many degrees you have, how many degrees in theology and a master's in divinity you have. They determine that is what chooses you. But what we just dissected and woven together is that man will choose you and draw straws depending on your degrees. But make no mistake about it, that is important, because even Saul himself was well versed in the law. He was from the tribe of Benjamin, raised in Tarshish under the feet of Gamaliel, a well-renowned, what would be termed as theologian, if you will. And passed that tutelage on to Saul. Saul was well-versed in the old laws and old ways and testaments, which is why he persecuted Jews. At this time were following what was called the way. It wasn't called Christianity then, it was called the way, and those who followed Christ were called the followers. And Saul, not understanding and accepting this yet, chose to persecute these people. That was until his infamous Acts chapter 9 scene, of course. And so does anointing trump truth? And the truth is that God chose Saul himself, handpicked him. And here's a man who was imperfect, murdering, well versed in the law, yet a murderer, a persecutor of Jews, of those who are a persecutor of Christ, and Christ still saw fit to choose him. Not because he had the most degrees or doctorates, but because and man didn't draw straws to choose Paul, but God chose Paul. God chose Saul in the Hebrew language. God chose him. So does anointing trump truth?